have some fun, smile, set the stage for the day. It's in high school for 3 legacy-defining moments in the mixed division, Red Flag and Mixtape. In the men's division, Pony and Ring, and then in the women's division later on, this and Revolution with Hannah Pendlebury. I'm Evan Lepler. It is so good to be with you. Tom Stiles, Katie Killebrew are up in the booth getting ready to call this mixed final between Red Flag and Mixtape. This will be the 7th ever mixed final at WUCC, Hannah. The first 5 WUCCs only were men's and women. So we're going to see some history today. What are your thoughts as we get this day started?
Well, first of all, Evan, it's so fantastic to actually be in the open air. 4 years ago, we had a very dramatically different finals experience in the wall-to-wall soccer complex. And it was a bit intense for everybody, a very emotional experience, and certainly for the teams having to adjust to those conditions. But we have beautiful blue skies and not really much wind here, which is going to favour, I think, the offensive looks of Red Flag. They love to shoot. They said that they, maybe they can play the unders, but all week long, that's what they've been doing, especially when they get the turn on D. So obviously the perhaps underdogs in this final, not used to this high level, this big stage. They've never played in front of this many people before, let alone under the hot lights of the stream. So it's going to be interesting to see how they adjust versus Mixtape, which of course have a little bit more caliber up here at the top. And
of the 6 teams that we're going to see in the finals today, only Columbia's Revolution is in the finals for the 2nd straight time here at the World Ultimate Club Championships. And you're right, Hannah, the opportunity to be outdoors and competing in this environment. I mean, 4 years ago it was unprecedented and special and unique, but this is how it should be. And hopefully we get 3 great games today. I think that the framework is there for 3 real classics. Seattle, Vancouver. Then you have Ring Pony that went to the wire at USAU Nationals last year. And then I believe this is the first time ever that Fury and Revolution will intersect on the field. The greatest non-USA program against the greatest legacy women's program in the sport. I mean, this has a chance to be a day that we're talking about for generations.
Absolutely. I'm very delighted to be doing the women's final, trust me. It's going to be hard to keep my emotions under control, I think, in the late stages. That we're hoping that's going to be a big tussle. Not to give any disrespect to Red Flag, they're a new team rising out of the ashes of the pandemic, of course, being formed in 2020. They released their roster and then everything sort of changed, their whole landscape, and the way they've risen through this tournament has been really impressive. But this maybe is going to have the loosest scoreline for those of us, placing perhaps bets. Well, not necessarily monetary bets, but just certainly, calling as to what we think the difference is going to be. But yes, with the shutdown D from Seattle Mixtape, they had a big wake-up call against Lunchbox, who looked on top very much at the early stage, and that kind of break at the end really made the difference, kind of grinding it out. So
Mixtape has been the more dominant team throughout the week. Mixtape has outscored their opponents 135 to 68. 135 to 68, Mixtape is 9-0. But in bracket play, things have gotten a little tighter for Seattle. They're only outscoring their opponents 45-36 in the 3 tight bracket play games. For Red Flag, it took them a little while to get into the tournament, some tougher games early on. They've outscored their opponents 134 to 81. They're also 9-0. But in the quarterfinal round, or in the semifinal round, I should say, 15-6 over Pooty, Mixtape needed a comeback against Lunchbox. Was there any moment, you were calling the Mixtape Lunchbox game, was there any moment in that game when you thought this might not be Mixtape's year?
Well, the early stages, Lunchbox were looking really dynamic. They had some huge block plays with their male matching players coming out of the stack, poaching off, being really, really smart. But it just seemed that at the end stages, Lunchbox ran out of gas a little bit. They played a lot of their top line. They didn't kind of open up their squad in the way that we expected them to. And the hinges just kind of came off. You saw the looser throws that were sitting and hanging. And it was just easy pickings for Mixtape. And they tested the young side of WUCC earlier on in that quarterfinal match. They're used to taking down these young, athletic, enthusiastic teams. And I think that's going to give them an advantage here in this final.
Some look at the semi-final highlights.
Oh, Nils Sontag, one of my players of the match, making huge scenes. Did you see that recovery there?
Well, Lunchbox went on to win the bronze medal yesterday afternoon, so they will be heading back to Australia with the medal. Khalif El Salam is the leading scorer and the alpha for Mixtape. Gagan Chatha is the leading scorer and the alpha for Red Flag. That matchup and who wins it very well could decide who wins gold.
Well, it's going to be a tight one, we're hoping for. Hopefully we shouldn't see too many calls, though. That was definitely something that impacted both teams in their semi-finals, and the discussions generally stayed relatively level-headed in the game that I called, Evan. But I think it was a little bit of a different story for Red Flag, and it's it's all part of the sport, right? The self-refereed nature, having those discussions, remaining cordial and cool-headed, but obviously this is the big show, and how these players react and respond. Hopefully the emotional energy of this game can be kept contained.
Well, Mixtape 4 years ago was disappointed to not make it to the final, but they are a national champion trying to add a world title to their resume. Putti, the team from Finland, certainly had their moments, but it was Red Flag coming out on top. And look, this tournament this week has been something of a resurgence for Vancouver Ultimate, which in the aughts decade, the first decade of this millennium, Vancouver Ultimate was at the top of the world. I mean, winning Worlds in 2008 at WUGC, Team Canada, Furious George, and we saw Furious get the upset over Sunder in the men's division to make it back to the quarterfinals. Obviously, Seattle, Vancouver, close geographically, great Ultimate histories, great reputations as Ultimate cities building up their programs, and what a moment this would be for Canada and our esteemed Canadian Theo Wan if Red Flag was able to get this win.
Well, I'm sure he'll be trotting up and down the sidelines, getting very involved in the energy of this match. If my geography is correct, this is the Pacific Northwest Showdown, is it not?
It sure is. So, we are about 10 minutes away from the opening pull. 10 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and then 3 p.m. for the women's final. A great day of competition here at WUCC. And look, we were just at the World Games. It's much nicer to be next to you than 4,000 miles away tossing to you. What do you expect to be the difference in this mixed final ultimately?
It's going to come down to execution. We know that both sides have excellent defenses, but can they keep the disc away from their opponents on offense and keep those channels clean and tight? At the moment, I have to say I do favor Mixtape. They have the experience to pull themselves back if they go down. Because of course, sailing through that semi-final, Red Flag, you know, they were out in front, they just really chugged forward. If they can respond well if they go down, but it might well all come apart. They are a newer team, younger team. Most of their players are just college athletes or just having graduated. So, but hey, with that kind of energy, it could be very spicy, and they could vibe off that and see themselves with the gold medal at the end of the day.
And I'll say this, Ultiworld's resident odds maker, Keith Rayner, in the Discord declared Mixtape, Revolution, and Pony the three favorites. I'm curious what kind of odds I could get on a parlay with the three underdogs. Because honestly, I'm leaning toward Red Flag, Fury, and Ring in the three games today. And I think that speaks to how close all these matchups are that we expect them to be. And these are genuinely three toss-ups.
Oh, absolutely. We've been saying it ever since the pre-quarter rounds. It is so tight here at the top. It's just a game not of inches, but just literal millimeters. And it's anyone's to take it. You know, you've got to go out. It's the big show. It's all about these moments right now. This is, I mean, the ironic thing is for some of the North American sides here, this isn't really where they're thinking about peaking, which is ironic that maybe, you know, the world medal doesn't necessarily mean as much as, you know, taking their USAU titles at the end of this season later on. But I mean, heck, if you can do both, that's a big statement.
You can't do both without getting a world championship first to start it out. 3 championship games to decide world titles coming up over the course of the day. Tom Styles, Katie Killebrew, and Theo Wan have the call for Red Flag and Mixtape. Hannah and I will see you at halftime. Enjoy the mixed final, everybody, on a beautiful day for Championship Ultimate here in Ohio.
Welcome to Cincinnati and the final of the mixed division here at the World Ultimate Club Championships. Myself, Tom Styles, alongside Katie Killebrew for this killer final. Red Flag versus Seattle Mixtape, and it's going to be hot. It's going to be steamy in the stands. Not too hot just yet, though, but we're looking forward to a really intense game.
Yeah, the sun is starting to beat down here in this mixed final matchup. It's really a game of rivalries between Seattle Mixtape and Vancouver's Red Flag. The Seattle-Vancouver matchup has traditionally been a spicy one here in the United States between the US and Canada. The cities very close together geographically.
Yeah, we're all dressed up here in the booth, and they're all dressed up down there on the field. So we'll head down and see what's going on the field for us right now. The Red Flag huddled up and ready to go. This young side, a lot of them came through the under-24 program. Big names like William Vu, Edward Go, making big plays earlier on. And the stat leader for goals, Mika Kurahashi from Vancouver.
This Vancouver squad is hungry. They were formed in 2020. They announced their roster in the beginning of March, and then the world shut down. So they really haven't had the opportunity that they wanted to play on this kind of international stage, not competing in a big matchup outside of Canada until very recently. They had a scrimmage against Mixtape, right? Just across the pond, if you will, between Vancouver and Seattle. Red Flag actually taking that game. They won that game against a friendly, but notably Khalif Al-Salam not there. We can see the Mixtape players getting excited. They have those clappers in hand. They are so excited to play this game. I think that they're going to have to make some adjustments compared to their earlier games, though.
Yeah, and I think Mixtape, we see the notes from our pre-game. They're trying to disrupt Red Flag's deep game. So many of their shots in the semi-final and throughout the tournament have come from some of those big assist makers throwing it deep to fast cutters. If Mixtape can disrupt that, it's a completely different game. But Red Flag are going to come under pressure like they've never felt all tournament in this one. Can they survive? Can they rely on those chemistry that they've built up through the college scene, through the programs that they've been on under 24s? And really rise to this occasion. And you've got to say, the crowd are starting to build now, Katie. We see people streaming in through the gates. It's early morning, and it's going to be a long day, and it's going to be a hot day. So the stands are by no means full yet, but they'll make some noise, particularly if there's a call that they don't like.
Yeah, we saw some calls that happened in previous games between both of these teams. It's hard because this is a self-officiated sport, so the calls come down to the players themselves. We have game advisors on the field. They're there to help with rules knowledge, to give perspective on a call, and to try to keep things moving along as we play this game. But coming down to the players themselves, their interpretation of Spirit and how it is, and we have big screens here today, so players may be seeing themselves. It is an absolutely beautiful venue here. We've had all sorts of weather this week, Tom.
Yes, the rain came down heavy and hard and prevented play. There was another 2-game break while the fields drained, which is actually quite lovely for us all to have a break in the middle of the date. The sun and the wind dried the fields out. We got play going underway again. The fields at the Lebanon Sports Complex have been in immaculate condition throughout. But some of the games moved around. I think some of the lower placement games were cancelled. So there's a couple of teams that they're in the sort of 24-25 or 26-27 bracket. They didn't get to play their final game, but they'll be happy with that. The tournament mostly going ahead. So it's 24 degrees C, 71 Fahrenheit, nice and humid, and pretty much zero wind. The Star-Spangled Banner barely brisking away from the flagpole.
This look here at the Seattle Mixtape, they're in the white jerseys getting talked to by Kelly Johnson, one of the leaders in this team. This is the O-line that we've seen for most of the tournament. Gellert, Al-Salam, Hauser making big plays there. And then we are going to see a first look at this red flag D-line. They are known for wanting to make plays. That there is number 7, Will Vu, and they say sometimes in Canada, live by the Vu, die by the Vu, meaning he can make or break a game depending on how he is throwing. He can throw you open, he can throw you out of bounds.
And Vu opens up the game. The gold medal match here from the World Ultimate Club Championship as the pull is slightly missed, fielded in the deep space by Bailey. Gets it to Johnson. Bailey cuts across the field. El Salam comes out of the deep space, trying to take away red flag marking deep everywhere on the field. Back to El Salam in the handler space at the moment. Cut out from deep. Mixtape revolving the field at the moment, and a pick is called.
We've seen a lot of the teams run in this vertical stack. You can see the players kind of in a line there in the middle of the field. And as that happens, sometimes they will run through each other. Picks are allowed in basketball, but not in Ultimate. So you have to not run your defender through other players.
Titcomb. Back to Bailey. Titcomb continues the crossfield cut. Bailey goes up the line. Doesn't get the shot. Johnson now. Static downfield. And that's because another pick has been called.
Players running hard, trying to get into open space.
Did you have perspective?
I did not.
Okay. Yeah, I did not initiate contact. I just jabbed up and went. So I think there was contact, but I think that you came into me.
Okay.
Okay, so what would you like to do?
Okay. So sorry, was it an offensive foul call, a defensive foul call?
She called a foul on me.
Okay, so it was an offensive foul contested.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, cool. So offensive foul contest.
I love Kelly Johnson there saying 100%
So it
contest.
should be count +1, right, Jonna? Matt, Kusan.
Jana Hammaker and Alex are 2 game advisors. Johnson flicks, and they score. The first pass caught by Lexi Garrity. And the inside shot opening up for Mixtape. A clean hold for the Seattle side.
That is exactly what they wanted to do. At the front of that end zone, El Salam made a cut to the open side, bringing the defender out, and then that inside lane opened up. When I was watching Mixtape warm up today, they were really working on that inside throw, that narrow gap that Kelly Johnson just hit there to Garrity. That's something that they're going to look to keep exploiting. Seattle usually known as a team that throws around throws, breaking the mark around, swinging the disc to the outside. I think maybe trying to warm up and mix it up here for this red flag defense that is very tight, right? We saw this. This is now an O-line out here for Mixtape. Or sorry, an O-line for red flag, which we haven't seen yet in this game. So far, clean.
I wonder how long that'll last. The intensity of both these defensive forces might be too much to resist. Pull floats high. Yu catches in the backfield. Chatter on the far wing. Short pass to Hoyt. Downfield disc has hung in the air a little too long. 2 grabs required, but it stays with red flag. Kurahashi sends it back around to Zhao. Creed now. Pressure coming in on that, but it stays with Julia Lee. Kurahashi. Chatter cutting deep. Covered. One-handed grab in the corner, and red flag with a very different looking offense. Peter Yu, They worked it all the way up the field, Katie. Not what we're used to seeing from this Canadian side.
I think that both of these teams have benefited from having streamed games. Both of them mentioning that they've watched our games and have scouted the other teams. Coaches being a little tricky here, trying to mix it up and throw defenses off their feet. And this is what you want to have in a first point. As a coach, you want your players to get some touches, move the disc. They're catching under a lot of pressure there, but that kind of movement, proving that you can hit both sidelines, use the width of the field, use the depth of your team, and get Mixtape on their heels, gives your offensive line confidence. You need your O-line to get that score without turning it over and let your D-line get back on the field so that they can try to get a block. I think the team that gets in the head, right, under the skin a little bit of the other team is probably going to have the edge in this game. We just want to make sure that that edge is with clean play, right, not calls and not stopping the flow of the game. But we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. It's the great thing about sports.
Mark Munoz was very, very close to the block on that previous point. Deserves a lot of credit for putting the red flag scoring pass under pressure. Johnson cuts up the line. A big bid comes in, but comes away empty-handed. Mott and Johnson having a good battle out there. Two Mott twins out on the field. Colley and Zell. Zell's on the disc now. Johnson's big yard gainer downfield, collected in stride by Kircher. Kircher back to Johnson. Johnson to El Salam. El Salam finds an open player. There's red flag disagreement in the end zone. How did that happen? How was Saban so free? A clean hold. And Mixtape maybe getting a little bit of into the heads of red flag here, Katie.
I mean, both teams have had a clean holds, and that's what we want to see. I think the discussion from the red flag players just being a mixed switch. They've been trying to play smart defense, poaching in the lanes, and that one they just miscommunicated, I think, in the end zone. Not sure who was marking up against Saban in that end zone, and that miscommunication led to an open score. But really the Vegas matchup there is, I think, what is the story of that point. Kelly Johnson is so difficult to guard. She changes direction so quickly on the field with her feet, and also changing the angle of attack with her throws. She pivots, one of the fastest players in the game, throwing open and then immediately moving. I think whichever red flag player has that assignment is going to have their work cut out for them.
All clean so far here at the World Ultimate Club Championship mixed division final as the stands start to fill. A beautiful day for Ultimate. Creed trying to initiate red flag's offense. Chatter's available. He's going to have to work hard to keep that in bounds. There's no way he can work to get that in bounds. It's a turnover. First of the game. Klein just ushering the disc to the surface.
Klein drawing that matchup against Chatha, trying to shut down the deep game, working on that point, forcing an error.
Cherry. Right across the field now to Tong. Sorry, that's Ryan. Ripping a big disc across the field. Oh, it's perfectly caught, it's perfectly read. In the end zone, Gabriel Ryan completes for Mixtape. The first break of the game goes the way of the side from Seattle.
That was a very controlled offense on that defensive possession. They were fired up after they scored, but you couldn't really tell from the players on the field. They were cool, calm, and collected on that possession. They are really taking advantage. You can see the red flag O-line players looking a little sad as they walk back down the field. This one just going out of bounds, I think intended for Chatha, and out of the way, going away from the receiver. The clappers you see from Mixtape, they are waving them. The clappers, of course, signifying a clap catch. that is how they want to score goals, not on big plays, but smooth offense.
I've seen a lot of the top teams sort of move away from taking deep shots. I think if you're a statistician who spend enough time looking at the likelihood of a deep shot completing, you start to get the realization that actually a hook is not the best way to play this game. They're a much lower percentage than working in. Clapham working in with for the majority of their O points against Pony. That's certainly a tactic they've tried to adopt. So the red flag, O-line back out again. A deep shot from Chatter, just picked off short.
Jen Cogburn, one of the best defenders on this Mixtape side, patrolling the deep space there.
Gina Titcomb. That disc from Chatter, not sure who the target was deep. But you can't throw across the field if it's occupied by defenders unless you've got a little bit more height on it.
Yeah. Unsure what the call is there. Titcomb's.
Okay, and we just stalling one, correct? Cool.
Game advisor retreats, stalling one. Fantastic shots from our overhead. Got a brilliant tactical view of the field and the space. Titcomb trying to work hard here. There's a big poach in the lane. Almost gets the block. It was William Vu lurking. Spreading the play to Reed Hendrickson. Hendrickson up the line. Cavallero. Hendrickson again. Smith. But it goes into the hands of Cavallero. Mixtape buzzing around the disc. Lots of short passes, just keeping the cuts coming. And now, a disc to Gina Titcomb that was nearly picked off in flight, and it's been overthrown into the back of the end zone. No bid, and pressure from red flag gets the disc back. The O-line have it once more.
Cavallero, as soon as that throw went up, grabbing his head, knowing he had overthrown his receiver. Those away shots in the end zone are so tricky. They're so deceptive as a thrower. You want to throw it, it looks so open, but getting that moment correct is difficult.
Downfield, the red flag deep game just not working out at the moment. Another turn. Completely clean for the first 3 points. And now both sides giving away the disc. In the backfield, Lozano moving it forward to Titcomb. Titcomb with a second little dish back. Cavallero again, moving it down the line now. No continuation from Cogburn. Titcomb just buzzes forward, gets the reset. Reaching grab. Titcomb's continued the cut down the line. Mixtape knocking on the door. A twinkle toe by the front cone, and it's a score for Cavallero, making up for that overthrow. And this game is drifting away from red flag. Mixtape have it 4-1 at the moment.
Cavallero with that head fake, stunning Vu into stopping, getting the score there. Really great work from the Mixtape side. They are moving the disc all the way around the field, taking smart shots, resetting that point of view, and the male matching defenders, I really have to. They have absolutely shut down the downfield movement of those male cutters. The red flag team usually shooting male matching to male matching player, and with nobody else in that deep space, they are just going to throw the disc away. You can see nobody anywhere near that. It's a bailout, I guess we would say, throw, and that pressure that Mixtape is applying and not letting the male matching players go deep is really effective against this team. We're going to have to see how red flag respond. It looks like there's been a timeout called. Both players, teams running back under their tents to get a moment of shade before they get on this next point. But red flag will need to make adjustments to their preferred style of offense if they're going to make a difference. I always tell my players, whatever their favorite thing to do is, make them do not that. Let them not have their favorite thing. Their favorite thing for red flag is throwing deep, Mixtape taking it away. So red flag gonna have to go to their second favorite thing.
Chatter, Vu, and Creed, the three main deep threats with the disc for red flag, have all got assist stats in the 20s. Vu's got 22, Chatter's got 20, Creed has got 22. And really, no one else in double figures for the Canadian side. On the receiving end, it's Mika Kurahashi, who was the target again there in the deep space. But when it's on stall 7, Kurahashi didn't have yards. It was just a throw, and the execution on that throw wasn't right either. Mixtape doing an outstanding job of closing down red flag's preferred option.
I mean, in a decision between turning it all the way down there or right here, I always choose all the way down there.
Yeah. Yes. If you're going to give the disc away, at least take the 70 yards.
Great pull there, landing in the end zone.
Munoz on the mark. Chatter working down the line. Chatter looks deep. Kurahashi's gone. Mixtape left stranded. Kurahashi brings it in for red flag. That's the game we expected. That's the move we expected. And finally it clicks into place for the Canadians.
Really making that connection. Mixtape, I think, wanting to stop that and just not being able to contain Kurahashi there on that deep space. Putting on the Jets there. That is a young player I think we're going to see a lot more from. A rookie.
Yes, Theo Wan was excited about the prospects of Mika Kurahashi, somebody that could be at the top of Canadian Ultimate for very many years to come.
Well, red flag punches back, making a statement with that last score. The coaches there talking to players, trying to pick matchups. I was talking with coaches beforehand from this red flag side, and they were unfamiliar with the Rule A, right? Where the gender ratio switches every 2 points to make gender ratios on the field fair for both teams. And now really getting into a groove with it, really liking that Rule A play for this team.
Yes, introduced for this World Championships, the so-called ABBA rule. Low disc from Johnson, asking the big questions downfield. Mixtape keeping the disc alive, a little dodge away. Movement still there, Johnson looks deep. El Salam comes out of the deep space. That was the mistake that Hrut made, allowing El Salam to go deep at will, and he did. Just dominating the end zone in that game. Moving it across the field, Katz has it. Katz goes up the line. Johnson's available on the reset, but it goes around the side, finds its way to Bailey. Bailey to Johnson. The movement from Johnson is unstoppable, but the disc is subpar. It's taken away at the front cone, and red flag, having held in style, now have the disc on defense. Lambert.
Mixtape taking away all of the deep space, every single defender about 10 yards back.
And a hand block on the sideline. Mixtape's defense, so good. Well, it's so obvious what Mixtape are doing to red flag. They've got to adapt to this. Every single Mixtape player is deep. If you want to go deep, you're going to have to go past a Mixtape player. But they're not throwing it through the handlers as a result of that, and they really need to adapt quickly. Otherwise, this is going to be a runaway. Johnson gets it downfield to Fong. Back to Johnson. Just anchoring this line, Kelly Johnson. Low flick, and the injury on the field. Lambert goes down. Is it an ankle?
It looks to me like a you stomped on my foot hop off the field. That happens as two players are playing close together, and the cleats, when they land on your toenail, are very painful, Tom.
Justin Podner is the replacement player. Apologies, no.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you have to drop because an injury happened.
It was Fong that
So play does
on.
stop.
Oh, no, he's gone off again.
At the point of the injury.
Okay, so then it was okay.
So are you saying 2?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Coming on 2.
Rule clarification from our game advisor, Alex. Taps in. Johnson gets it across to Bailey. El Salam looking for Amy Kwai, not there. Katz, low release from Katz, down on the turf, nothing Johnson can do. Again, the red zone defense from Red Flag, too good for Mixtape. Couple of errant discs. They are finding some spaces forward, but again, Mixtape being 100% sure. Oh, and just Edward Guo started to go deep. He's been a big target in the end zone, collected a lot of stats throughout the week, but on that occasion started to come back underneath just as the disc went. He's had 9 goals in the tournament so far. Not another one added there. Mixtape with a fresh opportunity. They've not felt like they've had the same sorts of connections in the last couple of points, Katie. Maybe Red Flag starting to establish some defense that's actually working.
Learning their players, maybe matchups getting a little bit more dialed in.
El Salam. It's close to the outstretched Red Flag hand, but with the back turned away from the disc, El Salam gets it back from Bailey. Vertical stack, cutting from the front. Back to El Salam. Bailey and El Salam combining at the moment, going every other. Hot pursuit, but it's not quite hot enough. Koji Suzuki in chase of Bailey. But this is not seen this offense from Seattle so far. Now El Salam has it back with Johnson there as well. Swinging to the far side. Gellert diving forward to collect is Bailey. El Salam not in front of the end zone. Trying to find something. Johnson's there on the reset, but he doesn't need that option. He has another option. It's Zach Sabin cutting across the end zone, getting free. And the Red Flag red zone defense has been good, but on that occasion, Mixtape hanging on to it just long enough.
The defender there on El Salam getting a little bit slow to get up, disappointed with their getting broken there over the shoulder maybe. This was their first Mixtape attempt at a score, and Johnson just not able to contain that very low throw, hitting the turf. And then again, a big throwaway on that break opportunity. Here you go. Laying out on the defender on that mark, but just not able to stop that throw. It looks like it's getting hot out there. Having played on turf before, the difficult part about it is as the sun heats up, the turf heats up too. So the feet get hot and you almost have sweaty ankles. It's just radiating up back at you. And it's a little bit harder. We've had very soft grass before this. A lot of toll on the body that we've seen as players have played for 8 days. This is the 8th day of this tournament. Maybe feeling a little wear and tear.
Yeah, I think we all are. It started in this stadium with a brilliant showcase between Mud and Traffic, teams from Vancouver and from Tokyo. Deep shot goes downfield. Creed was looking for Mika Kurahashi. And a foul called back upfield. Is the disc going to get returned?
It's unclear. I was watching the flight path of that disc and just thinking, why are you putting up a deep throw against Jen Cogburn? But this big huck coming and maybe some contact
Mixtape,
on the
anybody?
far side. Out of view.
I do wonder why Red Flag is still looking at this offense, because Mixtape have absolutely got their number here with the deep game. They know Kurahashi is a threat. They know who's going to be sending it. And they're just doing exactly what was expected coming into the game. And Mixtape so far just closing that down. Big force on the mark. Kurahashi's got somebody 10 yards deep of her every time she's moving. Mixtape have it back now. Floated across the field. Hand comes through from Kurahashi, but doesn't come with a disc. Cogburn gets it back to Cherry. Titcombe. Pick called. Chance for Red Flag to catch up. Indicating where it was. Cogburn and Titcombe, the two handlers. The rest of Mixtape lined up. Cogburn trying to find a way through. Good standoff distance from Kurahashi. Floated forward, Titcombe goes. Beautiful handler movement. Scores it for Mixtape. They're up by 4 here and running away with this mixed final. The gold medal in the World Ultimate Club Championships. It looks like it's Seattle's game to lose at the moment.
The Jen Cogburn matchup against Kurahashi is very fun to watch. You can see taking the inside lane there is Cogburn. Titcombe immediately throws and goes. Usually you're looking for that around flick and just taking that unexpected space. This is a really great level throw to get on that inside space, really catching Kurahashi off guard as she kind of lunged for that typical upline. I think that Seattle Mixtape, the difference is currently that they're looking at different options. They are taking what's given to them, really using that inside space well as they did in their warm-up. And right now, Red Flag is not adjusting. The Mixtape defenders, props to them. They're doing a great job of taking away the deep cuts. And the Red Flag players are fighting through it, really trying to get open in that deep space. But at some point, I would like to see them take a 40-yard under, take a 30-yard under, reset the stall count, like just move the point of attack. We saw them do it. We saw them do it in that first point, that first offensive possession. They clearly can, but maybe under pressure, just wanting to score big, and that's really not leading them to coming back in this game at this moment. We'll see if they can make some adjustments.
Oh, it's so hard when a team is under pressure not to just revert to type and do what's worked for you all tournament. Just to reassure them. Well, Mixtape coming down here with a different defensive look now. Maybe just as the adaptation to what they were throwing at them initially was going to be made. Looked like a zone initially, but collapsing as the disc advances into a more conventional one-on-one mark. You trying to find an undercut. The target was De Bruyne, but a lot of contact made.
My guess is that Mixtape is running a scheme to stop the pull play, getting flat in the first space, stopping that and giving the handler motion, and then tightening up after about 3 throws. But this is
Evan Klein, the defender.
So they're playing it on the live stream if you want to look.
Having a discussion about this, that undercut really pressure,
Foul.
a little bit of pressure
Accept.
there on the back. Good discussion from those two players, listening to each other, and now the disc is going to stay there with De Bruyne.
Really good to see that at this stage. We did have fears that this game might be a bit dominated by calls, and players not having the proper discussion, but that was done properly. Chatter sends up a deep shot, but it's marked by 2 players. Can it come down in red flag hands? Oh my goodness! In the end zone! Tipped off by 2 defenders, and somehow it still finishes with a red flag score. And it was the same player, Neo DeBrew, who called the foul going one way, and in the end zone comes up with a tip grab. Let's have a look at that. My goodness, Katie.
2 players dropping off there to play defense, almost there laying out. Excellent effort from all players involved. Such focus by DeBrew there to get up 2 steps behind, and the commitment to the disc, his eyes never wavered there. I think Smith Wilson there making another play on the bid just beyond her fingertips. That was good. That's
really
what
good.
I got for that. That was good.
Red flag are going to need to pull out all the stops here. And despite the fireworks, that's just a regular clean hold. A regular clean hold.
Neo DeBrew looked a little bit stunned by the camera there in his face, but just wanting to capture that moment. These players haven't really played outside of Canada, and we've never seen this squad on an international stage. So really getting to know these players and how they play.
Oh,
it's fun. It's fun.
It has been fun, and I think maybe it's a little moment like that which gets the blood pumping, gets the adrenaline going, realizes that they're in a game here. They trail by 3. Garrity for Mixtape, gets it back to Katz. Katz looking for Bailey. Floats no one nicely down the field, and a pick is called. It's going to come back.
I don't know if it was involved in that play. It will probably stay with the player. The stack is pretty compressed and close together, which sometimes creates pick situations at any level of the game.
Coming across quickly. Bailey down the line to Katz. Big bid coming in, doesn't get the disc. Katz floats it all the way back around. Loads of time and space for Bailey. Johnson going underneath. Mott in hot pursuit. Everybody that's given the job of chasing Kelly Johnson finds themselves in hot pursuit, but not able to keep up. Her ability to get free in that reset space and start quickly. It's really quite impressive.
Cam Bailey trying to be very clear there with his hand signals.
Johnson again. El Salam available. Good defense from red flag here. Mixtape trying to bust up the line, doesn't work. Going around the back for Johnson, floats it forward. Double-handed layout required. Johnson's disc leading the player to the turf. But it's another point for Mixtape, another clean hold in this game. Gold medal match. The mixed division at the World Ultimate Club Championships.
You can see Hauser there laying out and just getting a little bit of turf burn. That hasn't been an issue this week, but playing on turf, when you lay out, those little bits can scratch you. I call them unfriendlies, the little bits of turf. They get in everywhere, but that's going to be a factor, I think, for players wanting to get bandaged up or maybe wearing longer sleeves to protect your body.
Yes, they'll burn your skin, and then 2 weeks later they'll break your washing machine.
And those skids on the ground will probably be worth it, because Mixtape up in this matchup right now.
Well, they say pain is temporary, but glory is forever, and a gold medal here at the World Ultimate Club Championships would mean an awful lot to Mixtape. It was a different Seattle side that competed in the gold medal matchup. BFG took on Slow White in the final in the indoor wall-to-wall soccer complex. One of the most remarkable circumstances 4 years ago. when the tournament was again held here in Cincinnati. But a very different look and a different Seattle side. Mixtape representing the Pacific Northwest. Kurahashi has to go horizontal. The disc hangs, doesn't hang long enough. And another opportunity. Mixtape able to take the half here. Can they punch it in? Munoz sends it up the line. A mistake on the grab. Red flag say no. Got it back onto the ground. Creed. Spreading the play to the far side, Julia Lee. Floating the disc back across, and a takedown. Potential dangerous play there. I don't know what the call is going to be. A foul on their hand. Julia Zhao, the
receiver there. It looks like Cavallero poached off his player to try to make a play there, not having a lot of body contact, but enough to affect the catch here.
Did look like a script, didn't it? Zhao in control before the disc was removed forcibly.
Yeah, good communication by those players, quickly resolving that and getting back on the field.
Kurahashi to Chatter, just toes the line in. Floats it to the far side. This time it does work. The deep game connects. It seems to be their preferred option despite Mixtape desperately trying to take it away. That is the throw that works. It's the catch that works. Good cut from Sam Creed getting deep.
Red flag on their second possessions in these games has been able to get their offense flowing and eventually hit those deep shots. But right now the Mixtape pull play defense, whatever they're doing in that zone to poach in the lane and create those really difficult angles. That was the first turn in this point. And this just missed catch by Cavallero. I love how he always grabs his head when something goes wrong. Just to say like, oh no.
Chatter with the deep put. Creed getting free.
And that was a break throw. The Mixtape team forcing backhand, absolutely pivoting and then pinpointing that deep space throw, breaking the mark. Really good work there by Chatter.
Vu's had a quiet game so far.
Well, he's on their D-line. Haven't been on defense much in this game. It's been mostly a Mixtape.
7-4, and Mixtape coming out on offense now to see if they can take the half. Vu marking up against Bailey. Titcomb and Johnson. High rise from Gellert. El Salam flicks forward. Sabin back to El Salam. El Salam to Bailey. Lots of pressure. Time for Johnson to sprint free. Oh, they're on a different level at the moment. The possession from Titcomb, from Johnson, from El Salam. They're just running away from red flag. Nothing they can do to contain them. And they've dominated this first half here in Cincinnati. 8-4 the margin at half time.
And there you can see our stands filling in. This is the first of 3 finals today. But right now, everything coming up Mixtape.
They just do look, particularly the female handlers of Titcomb and Johnson, look like they've got the run of the field. They can go anywhere. The defense just can't keep up. I wonder if they're going to have to swap some players over to the D-line just to have an impact on Mixtape, because it's not working at the moment for red flag. Back with more from Cincinnati, but at the moment, Mixtape lead this one, 8-4 at half.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change. around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young.
And still a perfect circle.
Of fair play,
athletic pursuit,
and camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network.
Before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias.
And understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve
when we
pull together.
Long live Ultimate.
Larga vida Ultimate.
Long live Ultimate.
Cincinnati, Ohio is the host of the World Ultimate Club Championships. Seattle Mixtape up at half, and down on the sideline with Theo Wan is the coach for Red Flag.
Alex, tough first half for you, but let's talk a little bit about the program first off. Your first Worlds as a team, a relatively young squad, so what does this finals appearance mean to your program?
I mean, this is just really exciting for us. We have a mix of vets but really young talent, so we're just really excited to represent our country, and this is our second tournament, so it's been really great for us to see teams from around the world and just play really high-level Frisbee. We're really excited.
And as a coach, what did you see in the first half? What did Mixtape do really well against your defense?
Against our defense, I think Mixtape really came out firing. We knew that they had some really strong players that they're going to work the Frisbee to, and I think they were able to do that. We probably came out a little flat on defense, so we'll be looking to tighten that up in the second half.
And messaging and adjustments you're planning to make here in the second to try to make a run and come back here?
I think when we get the turn, we just need to distribute the Frisbee through more of our players. Like, we have really good disc skills as well, so I would like to see us move the Frisbee through more players, and then we'll probably try some other looks on D as well to hopefully get some turns.
We're hoping a lot of people in Vancouver are watching this game at home, so what's your message of love or what you want to say to the Vancouver audience?
Thanks for all the support. I know you guys are cheering us on. A shout out to Eclipse and the TCU 20 boys and everyone else cheering us on across the country.
Alex, wish you the best of luck in the second half.
Thanks so much.
Evan, back up to you.
Theo, great job. Thank you very much. We are at the half in the mixed final, and we welcome you back to our game day set. Hannah Pendlebury, I am Evan Lepler. 8-4 Mixtape leads. Gagan Chaffa involved in 4 of the scores, all of them for Red Flag, but much more balanced, deep effort from Mixtape, and they've capitalized on opportunities. What do you think?
Well, it really seems like Mixtape have Red Flag's number. They've dialed in a couple of their shots. The 2 breaks in a row, obviously coming from some slightly curious deep looks from Red Flag. Mixtape haven't looked picture perfect. They've had 2 errors when we were sat at 4-2 from some attempted low around breaks. A nice inside shot there to Gina Titcombe for the goal. It is looking a little bit easy though for the athletes in white. That huge save from Neo DeBrew to rescue the point after the D. But you can't be relying on plays like that if you want to win a world gold medal. You have to be taking the open undershots. And that is what we saw towards the late stages of that first half. They started taking a couple of the poached off unders, giving themselves the breathing space to execute the deep shots that they love so much.
Well, certainly Red Flag with the highlight of the half, but Mixtape 7 points away from becoming the 7th mixed division team to win a World Ultimate Club Championship. Redfish, Bluefish, Donner Party, Team Fisher-Price, the Canadians won it in Perth in 2006. And most recently, CLX, Dragon Thrust, and Seattle BFG. It could be a Seattle team for the 2nd straight WUCC. Of course, BFG was a top seed coming in here, but it's been Mixtape that has been the better of the 2 squads from the 206. No breaks for Red Flag, 3 for 5, pretty opportunistic for Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, talking about highlight plays, that hand block from Cam Bailey was a sensation on the far side of the field. And I mean, we talked about Red Flag, their young energy, that youth, they could drive, they can grab the scruff of the neck of this game and plunge it forward. We could see them surmount Mixtape, but at the moment, they are looking a little bit outclassed on the field. But it's those tactical adjustments, the experience, the knowledge, the understanding, but just also rising to the challenge of these moments. This is such a big game, and as we said, you know, Red Flag established in 2020, immediately being interrupted by the pandemic. It's great to see them reaching this level so early on in their sort of, you know, program, so they could go on to great things.
You think about Mixtape, they've played in stadiums many, many times, in semis and finals. Red Flag on a different stage for the first time. Tom Styles, Katie Killebrew have the call of the second half after the break.
Back in Cincinnati as Red Flag try to find a way to claw their way back into this game. They trail by 4 at half as the Seattle Mixtape side edge towards that gold medal, the World Ultimate Club Championships. Myself, Tom Styles, alongside Katie Killebrew with you all the way through to the final points of this game. It's a game to 15, and Red Flag are going to need some breaks.
They've had 2 break chances so far and not able to convert any of them, and not really taking what Mixtape is giving them. They're still trying to shoot deep, which is their favorite way to score, but they're going to have to make some adjustments and really use their full 7 if they're going to want to come back in this game.
We heard the coach at halftime talk about that's how they would like to play, particularly on defense. Chatter goes deep straight away, but you see the poach off was there just waiting for the player to arrive, and you can't do that if Seattle have got your number. Jen Cogburn just waiting for the disc to come down. She wasn't marking anyone from Red Flag. She was just there waiting for the deep shot to come. This is naive from Red Flag.
And sometimes that happens, like we heard the coach say, this is only their 2nd tournament together. Of course, 8 days together, feeling a little bit like ultimate summer camp here in Ohio, spending a lot of time with your team, but they're gonna have to adjust.
Oh, great grab on the sideline from Ari Lozano. Cherry. The cuts are coming, but they're well marked by Red Flag this time. Munoz with Creed for company. Cherry goes across and collects. Zoe Luke. Her parents are in the stands just in front of us with matching Canadian shirts.
They were the first people here. It was just us setting up, and it was Zoe Luke's parents.
Munoz tries to jump it in for Mixtape, doesn't quite get there. Looked like a travel as well. Yeah, that's been called by Creed. Trying to find Cherry up the line. Mixtape edging towards the end zone. Flicks to the back corner. Brilliant movement in the end zone from Mark Munoz. And that is a goal.
They were fired up there. It's really efficient defensive offense, or doffense, as some people call it. But they started on D there, getting the turn from Cogburn in the end zone, and then working it all the way back down the field. It was something that we've seen Mixtape missing in previous games from there. They didn't have that kind of poise and excellence and commitment to working it down the field, and that was a great backhand there from Abbott to Munoz for the score. That angle on that disc, so good. You can see other defenders in the area, but Munoz really the only player who could actually catch that disc.
So a break to start the second half. Mixtape started the game on offense, started the second half on defense, and they've made the perfect game of it so far. Only 2 turnovers for the D-line, 2 turnovers for the O-line for Mixtape. Red Flag's O-line have turned over 6 times. And the D-line has converted 4 of 5 opportunities for Mixtape. It's all on the O-line for Red Flag now. Are they going to come up with something new? Let's have a look at how Mixtape are defending this. Just poaching off everywhere. You can have all the unders you like, Red Flag. Just don't try and go deep. You've got unders for days. Now they're starting to wise up and use them. Zhao finds Chatter, throws the floaty flick across, and it's just dealt with. That option isn't on. They need to do more with the disc to get it up the field. Mixtape are taking away their preferred option, and it is being very effective because Red Flag is allowing it to be effective.
The beginning part of the movement on that field much better from Red Flag, and then we've seen Chatha try to take that break flick option before, and Mixtape's defender learning quickly. I tell my players, once and never again. So if they do that to you one time, fine, but never let them do it again. And Mixtape using that mantra that they probably have never heard, because I don't know if I told it to any of them, but they are not allowing that look again. They're making all of the top players from Red Flag make different decisions.
A replacement on field as Peter Yu, another foot injury. We're grateful for the AC here in the booth, but hot down on the field as Mixtape edge towards that gold. Titcomb trying to find a way free of the defense. Does so, and it's a last-minute break downfield. El Salam underneath it, reaches and takes it down. Options into the end zone, continuation cut, a throw to the back, well adjusted too, and Mixtape are on an unstoppable roll here. 2 breaks to open the second half. Is there anything Red Flag can do to stay with them?
Props have to go here to Mixtape. The sideline also using the clappers to celebrate Hussein Carnegie, who is injured and serving in kind of a advising capacity on tax. Everyone is excited here. They are a team, like we've said before, Mixtape. They thrive on the vibe. They have those cassette earrings. They have a lot of fun. And right now, Red Flag is not really doing anything to stop that movement. Chatha putting this up and players poaching off. I think we saw 86 there, Denise Bohoviak with the D, and then the score on the other side, Salam coming down with it and putting it out to a receiver, and then there in the end zone, Bohoviak doing a really great work to run it down.
Evan Klein, the whole Seattle team reacted. The moment that disc went up to El Salam, they realized he was going to get it, but then he was going to be isolated. The whole team running down and just reacting faster than Red Flag.
Yeah, Blahoviak looked a little bit like she was trying to toe that line, but well inside the end zone. I think that football sideline giving her a little bit of end zone energy.
Yeah, the lines in blue here, somewhat tricky to make out amongst all the other markings on the field, but they're very clear down when you get to the pitch level. Mixtape up by 6. Red Flag with a mountain to climb. This young team from Vancouver, containing the excitement and energy of the Canadian youth scene. Lots of players who competed for Canada in the under-24 cycles, 2015.
Yeah, Red Flag just taking another moment there to breathe, reset. We have 4 timeouts in this game. This is the second half, so they've used one of their 2 available in the second half. Sometimes you'll need them for tactical positioning, and that one I think is just trying to get an emotional reset here for Red Flag, who look a little bit flat, maybe a little stunned.
Creed moves it across the field. Zhao comes back for the reset. Chatter, the disc was to Chatter, but I think he'd already pulled out of that cut. Slowing, Hoy has to watch it go to the ground as well. Mixtape. D-line has been so successful at punching it in when they've had the disc. Is this going to be another body blow? Cherry down the line, Munoz the target. Oh, it's so easy. The flick from Cherry, perfectly weighted into the corner. The cut from Munoz, perfectly accelerating away from the mark right at the moment the disc arrives. It's into the corner. It's a massive margin, and it's a rump towards the gold medal for Seattle Mixtape.
Mixtape is certainly the much more experienced side, and their experience showing here. Absolutely clinical in their end zone possession, breaking the mark there. Burt Cherry, Munoz out to that side. The defenders just look stunned. I think that this red flag team is, talking to them before the game, they pride themselves on their defense, their tight matchups and stuff like that, and as this game gets away from them, you can just see them stop running. I think that any team, you want to feel like you played your best and got beat by another team, but I think sometimes the energy that red flag is giving me at the moment is a little bit more them beating themselves than it is Mixtape beating them. Certainly in the first half, Mixtape putting on a show, but I'd like to see some life from this red flag team. They have big playmakers. They can make great passes to each other. They have chemistry. They have a lot of that U20, U24 experience, but they're just not being able to connect the dots.
I think red flag's big win on the route to this final came against Noise. Well, looked like a clean hold from Kirahashi, but the disc was stripped away by her own teammate, and that's a turnover, and Seattle with another opportunity here. Titcomb. And a timeout called. No need to try anything exciting here. They are relentless in their pursuit of this gold. Just looking at the rest of the tournament in the run-in here, this does feel like a really imbalanced mixed final. There's the turnover again. The throw, two players running into it. Kirahashi had it. Perhaps the 11 shirt of Julie Lee had it as well. They couldn't quite contain it between them.
So that's what we would call a double cut, right? Two players going to the same space and really taking both of themselves out of play there.
Chemistry not quite clicking into place. So red flag beat Monkeys. They beat Wunderteam and Monkeys. Then they had the really close matchup where on Universe Point they took down Noise from the USA. They had an extremely one-sided game against Pooty from Europe. Europe had been an all-European quarter-final that Pooty had beaten Reading. Whereas on the other side of the bracket, it's been a much tougher run-in. Mixtape had to defeat Krut from the Netherlands, the excited young team. Then they defeated Lunchbox, a very high-powered team from Australia. And just looking at where those teams have finished, as it's a turnover back to red flag down on the field. Krut have finished in 5th and Lunchbox have finished in 3rd. So the teams that Mixtape have beaten have all won the rest of their games. Connected on the sideline. Big bid goes up, and Hendrickson.
Neo DeBrew shaking up on the play.
Neo DeBrew, who took down that grab in the end zone in the first half. Is this a foul call or an injury to DeBrew? Real big disc from Janelle Siwa.
Was there a foul call?
No foul call.
Okay, no foul.
And I called it.
And out was called.
It's just an in-out call here.
So he called out as well? It's out. Out. Accepted.
See this angle again. We've got a perfect down the line shot.
You're in for the injury? Okay, yep.
Oh, I think
that was a lot of pressure on that, but certainly the foot of DeBrew landing out, I think that was well talked out by those players using the help of the game advisor.
I think I was watching Reed Hendrickson's foot as it landed, and he landed in, but DeBrew was the player with the disc landing on the line and out. Hendrickson now comes underneath. DeBrew, heavy blow on the turf. Titcomb, Hendrickson. Cut comes forward, goes back to Titcomb. A round break. Bigham. Titcomb, another floaty disc forward to Hendrickson. They seem to be able to break the mark at will here, Katie.
I think that Red Flag is a little bit afraid of their deep shots, so they're not playing as tight on that mark as we've seen them play in other games, really trying to stop that shot. But sometimes you back up so much that you can't get anything.
El Salam rises just in front of the end zone, trying to find something through. Now he's going to have to go back in an around shot into space, but it's dealt with by Kurahashi. Too much air, too much time. Kurahashi, impressive in the deep space for Red Flag, all tournament, leading the stats on goals for the Canadian side and proving she's just as deadly with the defense. But immediately not able to take the opportunity with the disc in hand. El Salam with a second chance. Oh, and another error from El Salam, overshooting the end zone.
Just a missed throw there from El Salam, attempting to get it to Bigham. Making a straight away cut. It's a really difficult angle. I don't think that the defensive pressure necessarily created that throw. I think that was just a not the most ideal angle to throw to.
Undercut from Kurahashi. That is what they're being given, but the run through from Titcomb, too static from Red Flag. Titcomb advances and takes it down. Dominant from Seattle. El Salam again. Gets it back into the hands of Lozano. El Salam continues to cut across field. A round break, big bid comes in, but comes up empty-handed. El Salam anchoring the offense here in the backfield. Quick disc forward. Really good pace into the end zone. Not in. El Salam straddling the line as he had the disc. Oh, a ghost at the back of the end zone. Escapes the attentions of William Vu, and Hendrickson scores. Seattle. Oh, this margin is just growing and growing. Nothing that Red Flag can do.
Yeah, El Salam there with the throw. Really good work by the cutter to keep eye contact with the thrower. It's a very usual place for defenders to poach, assuming that cutter is going to clear to the back of that end zone stack. But this D by Kurahashi, so well placed, and being sure if you're not going to catch your D, this is just a difficult angle, overthrowing Bigham there. And Titcomb picking the pocket. They've been taking away the deep space, but they're running underneath to get that run through D, and the no look to Hendrickson, who had cut up line before that, getting poached off. Vu hanging his head, knowing that was a matchup that he was going to try to have to stop, and did not on that occasion.
Well, the no look is you know, people might accuse El Salam of being showy, but I think the no-look was the reason he was able to make that pass. If he'd glanced at Hendrickson, that's what Vu was looking for as a trigger to go across and take away the lane.
Yeah, and that's what chemistry and trusting your receivers does. El Salam playing on this Mixtape team for quite some time, and that kind of trust in your receivers, knowing your systems, knowing where people are going to be, really paying off there for Mixtape.
Mixtape making no mistake. 5 clean breaks. Perfect conversions. Katie Wong combines with Podner. Chatter's coming back and a mix-up. Sandra Baltan going deep, and it's a completely different red flag line here. They're really moving through their players. I think they've had their sort of dream line on for a few points.
You sure? Okay.
Now they've rotated through the whole team. I think if you are down this much, I think it's only fair that you get some players that maybe not seen much of the field onto it. Let them have a go. The top 7 haven't had an impact, apart from on the number of turnovers. Oh, but the execution not there on this occasion. Podner left looking at the disc, sliding across the turf. Johnson signals just with the arms, no verbal signal, but Mixtape shaping up, very compressed in the center of the field, and the cuts just keep on coming. Cavallero. Johnson's lurking, gets it down the field to Kelly.
I believe Mixtape has had 5 clean break holds in this game, meaning that they get the disc, and that might be the 6th. Johnson trying to jump in, but not.
Looked good to me. That one's going to float across, and another clean break. My goodness. In the end zone, Evan Klein reaches forward and takes that floaty disc out of the sky with another point. They're within 2 of the gold medal. And red flags 4 points. It's a shocking margin at the moment. Mixtape dominant.
Well, we talked about there not being a lot of wind today, and there is no wind on that red flag, bringing it into the breeze. They are looking a little limp here as we get towards the final point total for Seattle. Seattle Mixtape's D-line, their offense has been precision perfect. They've really used the full width of the field. They're swinging really well. A hallmark of Seattle style ultimate. If there isn't an open upfield, wait for an easy score. This red flag team we've seen, like you were saying earlier in the broadcast, they'd have maybe a slightly easier path. That one game with Noise having a spirit timeout, 3 points in. Some players we talked about it being a very call-heavy game in their semifinal against Pudi. But this game has been really low-key, and I don't know if that's because Seattle Mixtape has pretty much outclassed them after the first couple of points, so that there's nothing really to argue about. There haven't been that many close plays. All of the ones we've seen have been really well talked out, so maybe that kind of change in atmosphere of this finals, that microscope that you get put on when you're on these street games, those kind of differences can certainly get in teams' head, and it just seems like Red Flag hasn't been able to play their game. Mixtape absolutely setting the tempo, writing the melody, and absolutely orchestrating this game, I think, exactly how they would want it to be brought up.
Buckets don't lie is the message from the crowd. Breaks don't lie is the message from Seattle Mixtape. 5 breaks in the second half. 4 of them clean. 13 for the score. Big shot. Downfield. Creed. Gets it across. Big poaches initially. Finding a disc downfield. Low release to Kirahashi. Kirahashi continues the flow. Better. Into the end zone. Where has it been? Where has it been? But there it is. Red flag completing with a lovely flowing offense down the open side. Sam Creed, the eventual recipient. Katie, where's Red Flag's offense been all game?
I don't know, but I'm glad it showed up for at least 1 point. I was thinking there's so many fun matchups on this field. I really wanted to see these teams bringing us the fire of that Seattle-Vancouver historic rivalry, and it just hasn't been the case here. We've seen flashes of brilliance, moments of really great offense, some highlight grabs like that one from DeBrew earlier in the game, but this just hasn't been the story here. And finally DeBrew throwing that beautiful upline pass into space for Creed. That's the kind of end zone, I think that's the kind of offense they've really wanted this whole game and just haven't taken it. They were looking at those deep throws for maybe too long in that first half, then getting emotionally down. We know these players can make these plays, but they're just not doing it on this field. Take a breath. I think that's what I would be telling my team, because now you have a chance on defense. They haven't had many defensive points in this field. It's where you can get momentum. It's where you can get energy. And this red flag team really need a shot in the arm at the moment to get them going.
It's only the 6th D point for red flag. A nice pull there on the sideline, but they've just not run it down with very much energy. Katz is off to the races now. Johnson's looking just a little bit of extra step from Seattle.
Flat marks, trying to take away that deep space.
El Salam comes out of the deep space and grabs the disc. Tong for company. Vu trying to take away the round shot to Katz. On the far sideline, the crossfield pass.
Red flag player signaling that the disc should go back. The pick occurring before the throw and being affected because Kelly Johnson caught the frisbee.
Jesse Bolton on the disc. Guo marking. Big point for the D-line for red flag here.
You can see all of the defenders committed to taking away that deep space. This flat mark trying to stop Seattle's easy movement upfield.
They are taking the deep space, but as a result, they don't seem particularly committed when the player does go under to sort of get close and take away their throw or even get a run-through block, which Mixtape have done at will. El Salam floats around, but floats it too far. It's another turn for El Salam. He's had a lot of possession, but that is his 3rd turnover of the game.
Yeah, this O-line may be feeling a little rusty, not having seen the pitch as much. Katz here is going to be on defense. This is an opportunity for red flag. See if they can channel some of that Mixtape clean break hold and keep possession of the disc here and put themselves back on the board.
The deep shot's going underneath. Bolton rises, but both the players, great position from Bolton, just sucking Guo into that bid. Swinging it now, Kawhi. Bolton again. Bolton to Johnson. Johnson to El Salam, takes it one-handed. Little flick forward. Kawhi again. El Salam, Johnson in the front corner, and a pick is called.
The sideline there, rushing and then doing a double take, immediately pulling themselves back out of field. Corey Bigham almost ran into the camera. It was excitement there, and that's a good, clean hold. A dance there from that Mixtape, celebrating the score. Clappers alike, they have now put themselves within 1 point of taking this World Championship.
Well, Looks like the gold medal is already on the team from Seattle. Let's have a look at the turnovers from Red Flag. That's why they're in trouble. Looking at those deep shots that haven't come off. And the Seattle team have done a good job of keeping the disc out of the hands of their big throwers. Chatter had probably the most shots that didn't work out. Long shot. Bolton in a great position. Guo. And Johnson. There was a pick call that was retracted. Johnson was not the pick, and as a result, that point stands. So, within one. Mixtape coming out on defense with a chance to take the gold medal here at the World Ultimate Club Championships.
Their defensive line has been making themselves felt all day. We'll see if they can score it on D, get the D here to take that World Championship.
Zhao, again the deep shot, the only option they had. Chatter rises, contact made, a call, and retracted. Oh, it's really good to see that. Really good to see that. Well done, Gagan Chatter. There was contact made, and I think in some of the other games, might have expected a call to come there, but in this situation, good to see the teams just accepting some of the calls. We saw Klein do that earlier when there was a contact made. Oh, a misconnection on the far side. Mixtape give it back. A short field with Creed walking towards the disc. Can they keep this game going? Just one more point.
Foul called on that. Kieran Kelly putting a lot of physical pressure there on Chatha.
Up the line, the shot goes up, the bid comes in, but it stays with Zoe Luke. And it's a goal for Red Flag. 14-6 the scoreline, a mountain to climb, but relief to get themselves onto the scoreboard again in this second half.
Zoe Luke's parents here to support her mom, immediately checking her own camera. I can see her in the stands down here to see if she got a photo of that score. Really clinical movement. It was just such a nice inside break there. The late bid there from Ramirez to try to get it back after the drop. But that is Zoe Luke on the board.
No doubt these players from Red Flag will have a long career. Such a young side. We expect to see them competing at World, Canadian and Continental Championships.
And now it's going to be this O-line here for Mixtape. I did want to go back to that Chatha call. Sometimes when you feel pressure, you can call foul, and I think that it's one of the beautiful things about the rules is that if you call foul, you can see what happened, and then you can retract that call because the rules are written.
Chatter doing the smart thing. Bailey. Garrity. Seattle Mixtape on the verge of a gold medal here at the World Ultimate Club Championships. They work the disc down nicely. El Salam has it now. Floats it forward. Bailey takes, finds a way through. Unstoppable on offense. They score with ease. Paige Kircher with the goal. Seattle Sockeye with the Seattle Mixtape with the gold medal.
Tom Styles, I think you're channeling that Vancouver rivalry, but this was all Mixtape today. Really highlighted there's Francis Gellert, one of the other stalwarts of this O-line, and I think the story today is really the players without the disc, the movement of Mixtape, the defense of Mixtape, really making a statement, creating those easy windows to throw into that the defense of Red Flag just could not cover. All of Mixtape today. The joy on the faces, the clapping. This is what we want to see in this World Championship, just celebrating what we love about sports is that there's two key teams on the field who care. We started this game not knowing how it was going to go, and we knew someone was going to be disappointed at the end. That's how sport is, but really a mixtape show off really up and down the field on this particular finals matchup.
Brilliant play all the way through from Mixtape, that Seattle Mixtape. Sorry for any confusion there in the heat of the moment. The gold medal goes to Seattle. A massive win over the team from Vancouver, Red Flag. The Canadians never really in it. They were shut down in the first half, and that roll of 5 breaks at the start of the second half, taking it away from what looked like a hill to climb, making it a mountain to climb. 8-4 to 13-4. They've traded out the end of this game, but the pressure was always there. Red Flag on occasions looked naive with their tactical choices, but there was no doubt about the athletic superiority of the team in white all the way through this game. They had the options under, they had the options deep. They took away everything that Red Flag were looking for with their defense. Just look at the number of break chances they generated and the ones they stuck in. No breaks at all to Red Flag, despite their 3 chances. Completely clean on offense. Seattle Mixtape. What a brilliant game. They should be really, really proud with their performance this week. Untouchable in the mixed division. Our champions, Seattle Mixtape.
I am looking forward to see more from this Red Flag team down the line, though. They're very young, and this is, I think, a crucible moment, a learning moment as a team. They can take this opportunity to learn. I think as a new team, these kind of trials by fire go with you, so we'll be seeing, I think, more from them. They seem committed to excellence and to each other, and as they are so close to Mixtape, I look forward to where this rivalry takes us later down the line.
The crowd in the stands are starting to build for our following finals, but after that excitement and the huge win for Mixtape, we go down to Theo Wan on the sideline with a couple of interviews with the players.
Thanks, Tom. Here with Cam Bailey, Jen Cockburn. First of all, congratulations. Big victory, taking home the gold medal. Cam, your team came 5th in 2018 at this very tournament. Now you win it. What does this win mean for your program?
We're just the best there is. I don't know. It's pretty cool. City's all right. We got the best 29 players out here. We got the best coach. We got the best fans. So it'd be hard not to win. I mean, really, there was no other choice but to get the hardware. So here we are.
You got the hardware off the back of some great defense. Jen, you got a couple blocks as well. What was the game plan dealing with Red Flag's deep strikes?
Well, we knew that they were just going to try to huck it every single time. That's their offense. So we decided to just try to sit a poach in the deep space and punish them for not using all of their players, because this is mixed ultimate and we wanted to demonstrate like the best mixed ultimate we could, and I think we did that today.
And we're hearing the clappers from the fans on the sideline as well as on the field. So what's the origin story of that?
When we throw nice, happy balls to the chest, okay, and you run onto it and you just get a clap at home, you yell, "That's a clapper!" That's pretty much it.
Sounds great. And Jen, last question for you. Can you give a message to the Seattle community watching at home as they see you win the gold medal?
We should have won sectionals. We still haven't won sectionals. We know that the Seattle community is a huge hub for Frisbee, and we just appreciate all the support from all the teams showing up to give us support and love today. And we hope to give back to the community and keep growing the youth and keep developing Seattle Ultimate.
We wish you the best of luck. Congratulations. Wish you the best of luck the rest of the season. Congratulations on the gold medal.
Thank you.
Did a great job. Back up to you.
Thanks, Theo. And really poignant words from Jen Cockburn there. They wanted to take away the deep shots from Red Flag and punish them for not using all of their players. They wanted to show what good mixed ultimate looked like, and my goodness, they did that. They went through every player. Really strong handling performances from the likes of Kelly Johnson and Sheena Titcomb. but the whole team involved all over the field, and a massive, massive win. Kelly Johnson with 2 assists and 2 goals, but the stats were spread all over the field, but Cherry with 4 assists as well. But Mixtape are our gold medalists here at the World Ultimate Club Championships. Tom Stiles alongside Katie Killebrew. We're in a real pleasure to take this one, Katie. So
I have no words, just great Ultimate here. It's been an absolute pleasure at this World Championships of Club Ultimate.
Join us more as we take the Open final and the Women's final coming up. But the winners are Seattle Mixtape. They take the gold at the World Ultimate Club Championships.